fish as well as 5 minis. Honestly, I think you head dead center zone. Either box yourself up on some nice bricks or find some wood and just chill.
As we swap over here to Luca versus Toos. Very, very big names here right outside the agency. Toos, I can only assume, has that mythic drum gun in his inventory, but shots coming through here from Luca. He's getting a lot of damage off. Doesn't have a lot to work with in his inventory, so you can tell why he's pushing this engagement. Wants to take that advantage that he just got and push it, but he does actually end up losing that HP advantage. Toos does have a suppressed AR there, but no drum gun in his inventory, so still at the play at the agency. His shots coming through, trying to break him down, not going to be able to do so. Toos does only have 5 shotgun shots left and no builds remaining. He isn't going to get the edit, and that's piece control through its T. Luca going to go down. Toos going to come out the victor, and he just gets so many floppers just from that.
And the floppers we've seen already give you so many options in the late game. Every single one of those floppers end up being 5 seconds. You're able to hang out in the storm a little bit longer, so very efficient there. As you see, Refsguard is now rotating along the western side, just a little bit outside of Dirty Dock, so you can see him tracking through, opting to take the shots. 65 and then 233. So the question is, does he drop off and go? He does have a rocket launcher if he decides to. There's the decision. Drops off. First rocket goes through. Doesn't quite follow up. Has the reload. Second rocket down. Again, opting not to fire the tack shot off here, but continuing the pressure as we have 71 players remaining. Is going to take a little bit of a shot there, but opting now to just kind of disengage, so probably should have decided to drop down unless he was going to commit to it. However, getting good position here now, jumping out with a TAC 91 shot into a 68, and Captain Wind will go down. So well played from Refsguard there. Looked a little sketchy for a second, but has plenty of heals and shields to get out of dodge.
Yeah, Captain Wind, unfortunately, going down. I think it's because he's not wearing his signature skin. You know, he's known for that gnome skin, and changing it up a little bit on this day, I don't know if that's the way to go. We'll see how he recovers from this. As we do see Raxo get elimination. Blackie is going to get that wall there, but he's going to take a lot of damage there. You do see the minis in his inventory, so he will be able to pop those if he gets those metal walls to solidify. But shots are going through. A third party going to actually save him right now. That's going to take off all the shields of the enemy, and now gives him time to breathe for his metal walls to just build, and now he can go back on the offensive where he feels most comfortable.
And just trying to reset for a second here as he has so much pressure coming from all around. You can see on that minimap 4 players around here. Does phase into that box, into the cone. Sees the other player below him trying to take the shield. Deciding whether or not to end up going through. Does have the pump into the SMG combo. The other player edits him down. Snuffles just gets outplayed. Blackie no problem there. Taking that one over. And now you can see Scalar and Tohaj off and fighting on the side. Blackie just opting to disengage, getting out to the side there, making sure he doesn't get pinned anywhere near that fight and wants nothing to do with it. As Rowe now using the grappler to create some horizontal distance. Vex hears it right away, is trying to get up on the high ground so he can kind of nullify that and still have an angle. Gets on the other side, close the distance. Brilliantly done from Vex. Lives with 6 HP, but gets right up into his face, hits the pump shot, swaps over, and ends up landing enough shots with the legendary AR to make the difference. 6 HP, but has plenty because that was the looted up Rowe who had the shark for free. So now picks up Sky's loadout to go along with the green pump and putting him in not a bad situation.
And it was interesting to see that he didn't keep moving towards Salty, keep moving away. He's got the grappler. He can close that distance very, very quickly to the next zone. He did not have to take the engagement, making a very, very interesting play there, resulting in him being eliminated. Vex decided, hey, you know what? You shot at me first. I'm just going to finish this fight. I'm going to make the engagement. He made the aggressive push, and now he gets to reap the rewards of the shark. You may have come out of the shark as the victor, but if you can't take it into the late game, it does not mean much. As you see, Fledermoy's right here in the middle of your screen in an interesting position, right? He's in this box that's not really a box. He's kind of looking for anything. Smiley nearby as well as Pericle there. We do see Thika there on the other side of the mountain as well. A lot of players really congested up right here at this one peak of the mountain. And, you know, if it pools to them, they're going to be in a good spot. But if they have to go down, they're going to have to use a lot of mats to get down there.
Yeah, this is actually, so this is my drop spot. This is one of my favorite spots on the entire map. I love landing over at Gorge because it gives you a ton of options. One of the key things, particularly about rotating around here, is knowing where you can use the water and how to get down, and the ability to kind of use that zip line without getting caught. With that being said, a nice little ambush coming through right away. It's 62, 62, 31. Axial just absolutely obliterating Caxi. You can see him immediately popping a flopper to try and get some form of effective HP back. But 16 Axial is looking to go aggressive. You can see him walling off the side, using the tack to put some damage on the wall, phasing himself in one, phasing himself in two, but good disengage so far from Caxi, putting plenty of metal walls between him and the opponent, owning that cone flip, but not quite enough. Axial able to take advantage of that nice little ambush he set up there, and unfortunately for Caxi, he's going to have to queue back up.
That was really, really good. Axial knew what pieces were his. We say it all the time, piece control. But he really backed Caxi into one box. He didn't allow him to get the time to make multiple metal boxes to keep the distance from him. It was a very, very good play there for them as we're back over to Gambit's Juice, who now 2 eliminations in a good spot as well. Has that legendary suppressed AR. And very, very good at getting that ambush type elimination. But when you full spray it, you got to be a little bit more careful with it. Overall, in a really good spot. What I am concerned about is the player up above and the fact that he's kind of at the bottom of that mountain that is near that gorge.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an awkward situation, particularly because once you're pinned in here, it can be very tough to get out. Additionally, you can see him desperately trying to farm as much metal as he can. And while there is pretty much this entire place is made full of metal, it's really inefficient per swing. Like, you honestly, I think you get like 1 metal per each swing. So you're making a ton of noise. Specky's going to know he's here. And realistically, what Specky should be doing is just putting cones down and preventing twos from even coming even remotely close up without breaking through anything additionally. But we'll see. Two's already sitting on 2 eliminations. We have 62 players remaining as we're heading into the second zone. And Two's also looks like he'd already carved out his exit path. So nothing too much to worry about there, as he's almost maxed on all materials. So pretty well played. They're both just kind of keeping respectful distance of each other. So now we kind of zone out. You can see a couple of the other players in the lobby. We got Tokar and Buhai over there. Blackie, Lobetti, and Vapsexy, Dab as well, hanging out over on the side. Tus and Kazakhs down by that. I believe it's a ghost space now.
I believe you are correct. I believe a ghost space there. As we do move over to Vap here, his inventory looking a little bit light in terms of everything. Ammo, shield, not an elimination as he takes down Lobetti there just in the moment that we swap over. And now we'll see what he's going to be able to get, but he takes a lot of damage going for the loot and no shield there for him. So it does find 1 mini, but overall an effective trade. I don't know if it's going to be it as shots are coming through. This player being right on top of the box, going out and above, really good distance to put that vertical layer in between. You see continuously making boxes, continuously moving, and he decides, you know what, I'm out. I'm going to launch that out, but getting sprayed as he's rotating, actually going to land right on top of a player. It has to be careful because players around know he's weak. No one is launch padding this zone unless they are very, very weak. But he drops down, shots coming through, Harpoon trying to be used. Vap's going to get a nice chunk of damage, but it's not going to be enough. HP still going over to the other player. He's still pushing his advantage. Those shields are going to be cracked. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Vap's pushing this advantage all of a sudden he didn't know he had.
Yeah, and you can see now Forsikai been pushed out here. So Vaps probably has enough space. However, we talked about before, he was forced to use that launch pad and kind of get around to the other side of the mountain. But he only had the effective 1 shield going through there, trying to get a refresh and dropping down this player's box. But they did a good job to disengage, knowing it seemed like Vaps was pretty desperate there. However, he was able to shield up a little bit, so should have the effective lead. As now you can check that bottom right-hand corner, third zone coming in. We're hanging out pretty much in the middle. We got a bunch of people towards the outside, but there's not going to be a ton of action minus the fights that are going on right now. The one thing we have to consider, let's go back, let's take a look at the format. 10 games over the course of both of the days, 20 games total. Everyone kind of knows what the threshold is going to be. You know you have to end up at around 185, 190 points coming out of Europe to make kind of that top 80 group. So you know exactly what you need to do in order to accomplish that. Many people are going to take their first game, they're going to try and play for late, they're not going to be too aggressive, and they're going to see what they're able to do and come out from.
As we swap over to Ray's Yachi 32, obviously throwing node to Kiriachi, he does have the mythic drum gun, so that is where the drum gun is on the map. It is down as we see Looking like he may go and get aggressive onto Kiko there. Hoop 3K in the background a little bit further away. He does have one rocket, so he can get involved. He can get down into that box if he needs to, but doesn't really need to right now. I am concerned, though, if Zone does not pull his way, what he's going to do. He does have his one launch pad. Obviously, wants to recycle somebody else's and maybe rotate on foot, but his lack of mats is really concerning because he really only has soft mats here.
Yeah, but he'll have plenty of time. Like I said, it doesn't look like a ton of people are looking to fight right now. Everyone's just kind of looking to chill. They want to get kind of a measure of where this next zone is, as this zone, being zone number 4, is going to be really tight. And then we're going to end up in a position where people are going to start having to take shots. Storm Surge will come in effect if 50 players are still remaining going into Circle 5. And we can see pretty much everybody is being driven up on top of this mountain. And with a lot of people not inside the zone, there could be opportunities for eliminations to come out within this next rotation. Again, 9 players will need to go down here eventually, but Balasconi just trying to make a quick little rotation. I'm not necessarily sure about having this pump out when you're just out in the open here, but as you get close to the builds, that is going to be the weapon he's going to want to just keep an eye on. He's just trying to shadow through some of these old builds and walk his way into the zone. Goes to try and build up on top of this player, immediately gets coned out. This player going aggressive into his box, and he says, "Excuse me? Kiko, what are you doing, man?" Balasconi picking that one up, getting a nice little refresher, and also now his priority edge of zone, since he'll be able to tunnel out with their combined 1,500 builds, so he should be in a good spot.
He's in a really good spot. That was a very good counterplay to what happened, as you do see Raze right nearby, as well as Tiago there. Tiago getting beamed up. This may be what Raze needs to capitalize. You see multiple players looking for that. Balasconi even looking for the action as well. Even though he doesn't need it, he just wants those points. He wants to get up towards that top 80 threshold. Is now looking to get in a box side engagement, decides against it, realizes, hey, you know what? I'm in a really good spot. I'm above Storm Surge. I don't need to get that involved as players are continuing to fall. You mentioned that 50 threshold is more and more going down. RPGs being used. Yura on a very, very low amount of HP. You do see Tohai kind of ratting his way through the bottom. They're able to make it in as well. Scalar nearby. Vaps is still alive in this box that he initially launched into. We do see Scalar looking in that cone, getting that information. Tohai may be in an awkward spot here.
Potentially, but he should be able to just push in. Again, it all depends on who's below that Storm Surge threshold. That's almost everyone, minus a couple players who just need to get inside. You can check in the bottom right-hand corner, that white circle representing kind of the safe zone. Almost every single player is inside of it. So when the storm closes, all of the action is going to be on those Storm Surge players. The way Storm Surge works is it punishes the players who have been the most passive, the ones who have done the least amount of damage to the opponents. You will take 25 damage for each one of those ticks where it comes down. You can kind of outlast it and just hope other players get eliminated, but it's incredibly difficult to do, and you'll start to see kind of those purple lightning bolts come down, and those players are going to be the aggressors here, as they know they're going to have to go forward. And instead, Skylar just goes forward into Dab's box. He says, I don't even need that. I'll give somebody a favor and get them out of dodge, as he does the good old Clay special there. Double harpoons through right into a pump.
I love the harpoon, and I love that more pro players are using it. Getting into that box is a door opener. People get caught off guard when you're able to. So it really, really shows really good skillful and mastery of an item when you're able to use it like Scalar just did. Does find a recycled launch pad. Does get a nice mid-ground tarp here. Only thing I'm worried about is that he's built out of wood, and you see immediately switches over to that metal so he can let it build up and sit and wait and look for eliminations. As he's going to, I believe, pick one up right there. That's going to be a big beam, and he does. Specky Fin going to go down. What a huge catch there by Scalar, just picking up everything. Unfortunately, not going to be able to reap the rewards of that elimination, but the reward for him is those 4 extra elimination points.
Which is honestly more than he could have hoped for. If you fire off 4 shots towards somebody and get an elimination, that is a very high value. Like, yes, you're not able to pick up on any of those mats, but he's already in the 5th zone. We've already seen 5 players drop on this rotation. We have a number of players already come in. Now we have Fex, who is able to pick up that mythic loot that he took away from Ro on the outside. You said Tohash was in a tricky spot. Well, it looks like he was able to Tohash his way out of it, as Luis ends up going down there. Some good shots coming out. Fex's linear was apparently better than Yura's, as he's able to catch in there with a really nice angle. Also had that mythic AR, so going to have that super fast fire rate and the ability to pressure on walls, as Nikeva goes down to Buhai there in the top left corner of the screen. You can see now Sixth zone will be revealed, and everyone's just going to hang out for a second as we see who has priority and who's going to be able to rotate. We get a look at the lobby right now. Rexo, Floppa up on high. Yatus, Tokar, and Birkilino just below that. Rexguard, Blackie, and Laziras. And Covado, Luisa, Smiley off on the side. Buhai taking a fight right now in the corner with Tus. But Tus has priority on this zone. Good edit out into the pump. A couple 33 tags. Gonna look to go aggressive here. Potentially try and finish it. Sees the player is already looking to disengage over. Is probably gonna look to find another target, considering every single person in the zone is gonna have to rotate him. Storm Surge Special going off here. The next magic number we're looking for is 30 players remaining. So a lot of action, a lot of people are gonna fall here very shortly. As Tus tries to get in on the action, he does. Picking up Fika there with a nice little pump into AR swap, and you can hear everyone taking to the sky as the launch pads are coming out.
And I was really worried for Juice here that he was not going to get the swap off with the pump and the suppressed AR there, but he's making it work, making this layer changes very, very flawlessly, doing very, very well to stay alive. But what is concerning here for Juice is that he does not have a lot of mats. Now, he does have 4 floppers, so he does not need to worry about that too much, as we do see Matzo going down, Flex going down, Bellasconi going down, Snazy going down. A lot of big names going down here in this zone. Fletamoy's even falling as well. Choose pulling what I call Savage Classic, sitting in that cone, waiting in these in-game circles is going to catch a lot of players off guard, like Tiago there, who was just trying to make an edit in an uncomfortable situation. As Juice is going to find a launch pad there. Don't think it's advisable to take that. Actually trying to help the player down below take it, but has decided against it. 25 players remaining. Juice looking for any opportunity he can to take this launch pad. Is going to be scuffed a little bit, and he does end up taking a decent amount of damage to it, and he is going to be able to make it out, though, to see what he does in this rotation.
He needs to not get hit out of the sky. As long as he can avoid that, he has the floppers, he has the big pots in the minis. He's far enough ahead of zone where he should be able to get himself almost up to that effective 100-100. You can see there, he's just going to rock with the 179 here, trying to push forward and catch somebody tunneling across them. You hear that grappler over on that side. That should be for easy. But Tus, knowing that he has 3 more floppers, is looking for the other players. This is what we talked about in the early game. Each one of these floppers is an additional 5 seconds. We can go hang out in the storm. Tus finding a nice little refresher there. Picks up a heavy snipe to help break through the builds. Does have 2 more, but he needs to be careful about making his way back into zone here, as the players are going to be looking for him. The diagonal pull helping him out there, as we now have our top 13. Remember, with that point threshold, the top 10 is really where you want to get to, as now we're on to 11. You can see 4 effects hanging out in the storm over there. Again, we know he had a bunch of floppers, as well as we have our top 10. Tus trying to push forward, trying to phase into this box and get in this player's face. Using the pickaxe, jumps on through the player, disengaged out the side, but the 81 tag is going to force it off, as Tus with 5 elims is desperately trying to find his way around the backside of the zone. A nice headshot coming out there, as that player ends up going down and exploding himself. So not sure if that was intentional or somebody blocked him off there, but Parenko going down, as Tus now in the top 6, and he's playing just like a little sneaky beaver. Only 1 build left. Can't take the tick from the storm. Is able to push forward. Can he finish the elimination? And he does. That's Buhai, and that's a huge refresh, getting him just enough mats as Fex picks up a double, and then a great double edit coming out from Tus, and we have our 1v1. It's the Shark. Oh, it's not the Shark player. Julian Com up top, and then Tus on the low ground, Clay.
Julian come up there, Juice on the low ground. Juice has made an incredible play. He found Ibuhai after getting that initial damage onto him, so already had the advantage shots coming through. RPG dropping him down. Was wondering if Juice may have made a mistake by not taking that first RPG, but finds it with an elimination. This going up the hill is going to be very easy for Juice to maintain the high ground and pick up the victory royale, as RPGs are raining fire from above. This should be it. The last RPG going to come through. Actually not going to connect, but the zone going to do it for him. The victory royale going to Tus, and he picks up 8 eliminations as well.
Well done from Tus there, closing the game out with 65 points total, 33 from the victory royale, the rest coming from those 8 eliminations, 32 there. As we just take a look at that dinosaur going through, that is quite the architectural building and quite the rotations those players had, Zeke.
Oh my gosh, guys. I wasn't ready. You know, it's like, all right, you know, classic EU, we're going to start slow on game 1. Tus said, no, Zeke, just check this out. I'm going full send. There were so many moments back there where it's like, just like yesterday, where I thought, okay, is Tus going to make it? What is going to happen here? And he's just like perfectly navigating every single situation. Like, what kind of awareness do you have to like, not only jump back in the storm, find additional floppers, come out in mid ground tarp, be like, oh, some guy's shooting at me, don't worry, I'm gonna waterfall off my left, and then take time, not wall myself up because I know where everyone else is relative to me. Like, Toos is insane. Like, so now, what is this guy on? What is it? Tell me the secret. I need to know.
I mean, honestly, that just looked like he's had a solid amount of situations where he's kind of been pushed to that regard, which might speak a little bit to kind of how EU plays. It's just so often you have so many people flying at you that you very often endgame you're playing with literally the materials you have around you and what you can scavenge from other people. And I was most impressed when he dipped out in the storm with 10 HP and managed to get back in. I think in 99.8% of circumstances, most other players would have been eliminated by the storm there. But he managed to time it out perfectly, come back in, and then win 2 quick fights to give himself an advantage. And the way he closed it out was really textbook as well.
I want to say reminiscence of 72 hours, doing it way back in the day before you had that 1 second storm buffer, right? So Toos on something, a little bit different here this morning.
Man, showing mastery over every aspect of the game. Now the question for me is now this: is this enough gas to push him in at top 80? Because remember, we do have cumulative standings today, so we don't know how many standings he ended with yesterday. But do you guys think after this first game, is that enough momentum to kind of help push him through the rest of the day? Does he need to keep turning it up? Because for a lot of these guys, it did kind of look like, hey, this is a reset, right? Like, I was on it yesterday, we're reset, fresh day. For Toos, it's like, no, it's basically like he just picked up game 11 after game 10 ended.
I mean, I think the key thing to note here is that threshold we talked about, how it's kind of been the high 70s, lower 80s. I think probably for Europe, we're going to look at probably the higher end of the 80s, but he just got a third of that in one game. So I'm assuming he did relatively well yesterday as well. But even if he didn't, he's going to be in a spot where as long as he was able to get maybe 40 or so points yesterday, you're looking at 80 points in 9 games. Like, that should be easy for him.
I definitely agree. That's a 65-point game there for him. He's looking really good today.
All right, guys. Well, I don't want to keep you waiting too much longer, so let's hop into the next game of EU. Take it away, gentlemen.
And now hopping right on board here over at the Slurpy Swamps with Flame. He has that C4 that we typically will only see for the early game aggression to kind of really get out right away. Going to break as many of these barrels as possible to get up to that effective 200 HP, and he's actually being really aggressive towards this player. So not sure if he's able to tag him early on or realizes he doesn't necessarily have the same shields or weapons that he does, but Flame looking to go very much so aggressive here, breaking in on the wall, immediately going to have it taken away from him, trying to use the tack to break it down, but it seems like he's not really going to let this one go at all. This player doing everything he can to try and disengage.
Yeah, trying everything, and we'll wonder if it's going to be enough as we see Fast Sniper and Podesai go down. A lot of shots missed there from his opponent. Flame capitalizing on it. And that's Nyrox going down.
Yeah, so that had to be a situation where I think Flame probably beat Nyrox to a chest or something and then got the initial information on him, because Flame was just dogging him. He was all over him. Now as we swap on board here, we have Lazen, who was the EU Duos console/mobile champion, ended up having a really solid performance in week 1. Didn't necessarily see where he was at yesterday, but over here at Dirty Docks with about 4 other players hanging around, you can see him trying to get a little bit aggressive, having that blue pump and the epic AR, as well as plenty of shields early on, means he's going to want to look for trades and look for picks, and he's trying to get a little sneaky right here.
Ooh, and sneaky he does, as we see Item going down again yet early. Hopefully he'll be able to come back from that nice wall take there, and that's going to be Captain Win going down early yet again.
Oof, that's rough. That's twice. Captain Win, I apologize, man. Just not necessarily being on stream is probably unlucky for you there. I was getting caught out early on. Lazen just rolls right through him. Again, that initial 70 tag when you don't have a ton of shields is going to do a ton of damage, but immediate fight also breaking out, as now we hop on over to Coolest Carrot FY9 over at the agency. You have Pirka Siberia also over there. You can see who ends up having control of that lower level, as Siberia just gets ripped apart. So great angle from Coolest Carrot there, trying to get some pressure on him. He does have that drum gun as well as the legendary silence AR, so I think this is only going to end in one way, which is the drum gun going burr. You can see the amount of pressure he's able to put on the walls here is just immaculate between these two weapons.
And Coolest Carrot yesterday did not have the best, but did not have the worst of games. He ended about 111 place, around 70 points or so there for him. Is he's actually going to get this wall. This is going to be really good for him. He can just continue to push in. The banana not looking too good right now. Is trying not to get split, but the Coolest Carrot going to come out on top. Vegetable is better than fruit in this situation. We'll see how he does going through. We also want to point out Camo going down there to Falconly is very, very huge for the lobby.
That is massive for the lobby there. And Falconly has also been somebody, the French player, been playing relatively well recently. He's had his ups and downs. Some great execution on that. And then the back-to-back. So the first one was absolutely brilliant execution with the pump into the swap. And the second one is just, you know, holding RT with the drum gun as you drop down on top of the second player. And just the benefit of the top-down angle and the headshots ripping through there. I think that was 2 headshots and then 4 body shots. So Coolest Carrot, one really good play, and the other one just being the benefactor of circumstances there. As now we swap on board with Calify and Atlantis Majin. Majin, the player who's been around the scene forever. I think he sort of kind of has been making comeback. Hadn't really been seeing a ton of him recently, but popping up here in the FNCS Invitational and going to the absolute sky. However, he's on 34 HP. He does have plenty of utility to kind of pop that back up if he can get enough time to use it. You can see him creating enough space and now disengaging because the player is trying to knock him down and immediately building back up, but does get coned off. You can see he's no longer the aggressor in this situation. He needs to be careful of his build totals too because he's at 4, and that's not really enough to get down safely. Oops.
And that's another way to use the harpoon very effectively, dropping your opponent with it. Imagine what you could tell with the way his body language was. He knew he was just going to be eliminated there, and it was really unfortunate when you're in that situation and you don't have any builds and you're falling. You're like, oh, can I catch something? Can I hit something? But no, he just couldn't. So he's going down a little early. Dirty Doc's action being very, very, very aggressive early on. You move over to Krusty, who's getting tagged up very aggressively. Player in his box, shots coming on through. Krusty down to 31 HP. Now he does have time to pop the flopper. Going to pop 2 just as a precautionary as Castery taking down Flame in the elimination feed. Krusty trying to stay alive here. Does have time to pop the main. He says put enough distance, but is not feeling safe about it and realizes, hey, I don't own that wall. This pressure continuing to come through on him. Is Castery going down as well? A lot of action happening around the map. We'll see if Krusty's going to be able to get out. Nice edit there for him to get towards the high ground and continue to put the layers in between. This wood base going to be very easy to break, but Mini's going to be popped here. Player getting inside. Shots coming on through. Has yet to take any damage, but he gets a 165 pump there as more pressure going through. A very good play from him.
Yeah, it's really hard to be aggressive into a legendary tac shotgun. You can do everything right. You can phase into the build. You can have your crosshair lined up. But Krusty knew where you were coming from, had the angle, and had the superior weaponry. He also has a lot of utility that is very quick to consume. So despite the amount of pressure with the Siphon and the Flopper he was able to eat, he's back up to 148 effective HP. Not going to pop anything additional, but right now, KS1 Light trying to put some pressure onto him, continuing to work around the outsides. And really, they're both investing a lot in this fight, so he feels like he needs to get the refresh here. He's only sitting on 40 mats and not the best of weaponry. Does have the blue pump, so he can hit that one-shot, 200 pump headshot if he's able to hit all of the pellets. But the barrier of execution there compared to the legendary tac is going to be really hard, especially right now, because you can see on the other side the player's trying to hold kind of that triangle edit, and he's waiting for him to poke through the stairs. If he's able to get that wall and then poke through, he's just going to blast it.
We'll see if the box fight practice has paid off. Edit going to come through. Stair going to be flipped. Both players taking shots. They knew where they wanted it to be, but not hitting the shot. One player crouching behind the triangle edit, waiting for the opportunity for Case-Like to make a mistake there. Krusty trying to just bait it out, trying to wait it out, trying to make sure that, hey, you're making a mistake. This is a chess match. It's back and forth. It's back and forth. You're planning out your moves one step ahead of what you think your opponent will do, but your opponent's doing the exact same thing, and this is all piece control. Who's got the pieces to make the elimination happen? Going up, Case-Like going to be able to maintain the high ground here. Does have 24 mats, so he can still maintain it, but what's concerning is the amount of players moving through, and I think that's what he realizes as his opponent is disengaging as well, trying to just push him back into the house, getting some tags up as well. 30 damage off. That's going to give him the indicator that he can continue to push this fight He's got the pressure down. Benny going to be popped. Nice edit here. He's going to get the back wall, and I think this is going to be it here for his opponent. Elimination might come through here. Edit's going through. K-Slide missing shots. Walls being taken. Walls being broken, and eliminations coming through. Trusty is going to fall.
I don't know how worth that is from both. Honestly, I think they might have both just griefed both of their games, considering they went down to a combined maybe 70 materials, and at this point you're not going to have a lot to farm up, so he's going to need to make a push. Right now we talk about interesting decision making. We have MXRR of Solari and Mr. Savage. They're hanging out in the storm, kind of committed to this fight, but 100 Thieves Mr. Savage is saying, okay, well, let me know how that one works out for you. He'll be the benefactor there. Does have a launch pad if he needs it, but also has a med kit, so should just be able to walk his way most of the way out of the storm. But that was a deep, deep team fight. Or storm fight, apologize.
I would not expect it from any other region other than EU. It's kind of a staple. There's at least one storm fight per match that's all the way out in the storm, completely not even close. And Savage coming on top as we swap over. This is Putrick, who changed his name to Mobile Player. So not actually a mobile player there, but in a good spot to make something happen. What I am concerned about here for him, that lack of AR ammo, but it looks like he's about to get set up for an elimination. Thought he could go for that beam there, but not going to. Did have a decent day yesterday, obviously looking to continue to solidify if he gets in that top 80 or not, as we get a nice view here. Steelix, one of the few players that is kind of up and coming here in the scene. We'll definitely look to see if he can improve on his performance as we move over to Sundown's pick, Moki, to see how she's doing.
And Moki right now is stalking on Birch, trying to get an angle for some shots. Does have that 50 pot if she needs to use it, but looking to try and get a refresher or a tag somewhere else. This player is doing a good job of covering his back, making sure not giving an angle. Moki doesn't necessarily want to open up here, just trying to look to rotate a little more centrally and safely to zone, which is probably the intelligent decision given the number of players who aren't on the edge and are already close to the middle, especially considering she doesn't have a ton of excess material. So going to opt the box up right over by this stone, do whatever she can over here. Currently sitting on 6 points so far, 0 eliminations in this game, so we can assume that this is her second game right now, so probably had a little bit of a tough first one going on there. But with that being said, third zone will be revealed. We already saw the number of players who are kind of clumped up over there, as now Nuka and Keelix RR taking 2 fights over here. Nuka trying to do everything he can to kind of create some vertical distance, get some time to eat some of those shields. He does have Brutus's minigun as well as the epic tack, so he's pretty set to kind of take these close range fights. However, a really good job so far from Keelix not to give Nuka the space to pop that big pot. He keeps hearing it over and over again. He knows he wants to take it. Instead, just going to burn the launch pad and said, nah, I'm out of here. Peace.
And that's what you have to do when you have that extra launch pad. You realize, you know what, I can use it anytime that is really, really detrimental to me being alive. And he decides, you know what, I will burn that launch pad. But it is very concerning. He does have Brutus's minigun, so he can hop onto a player if he needs to. But he's got 24 builds, and so now he didn't hear the launch pad come out from his opponent there. Needs to try to look back and hold that opponent, really needs to try to capitalize on it. His opponent is going to look to do the same thing because they know they're weak. They know that they got that raw HP damage, that white HP was shown. They know if unless they've got floppers, they can still put this pressure down. Brutus's minigun, though, being applied that pressure back. We'll see how Noka is going to be able to do. He's got a player just above him as well. That player actually not going to end up seeing him, and he's going to be able to just escape right by. A really lucky rotation here from Noka, going to keep him alive for the time being, but I think that player does end up seeing him as Noka sees the builds there. Got a good rotation. Third zone coming on in. See how he's going to be able to make it into these late games, because right now it is not looking too good here for him.
No, he's honestly in kind of a tough position, but luckily able to just kind of rotate over, pick up whatever he needs to kind of pick up, trying to top himself back off on whatever mats he can safely get, because you can see only has a total of 33 builds, with almost all of that being wood. And as we get into kind of this next zone where Storm Surge could potentially come into play. Nope, I lied. We're at 60, not 70. Ignore me on that regard. But he still is desperately going to need to get some form of materials, because only having the one launch pad, having to burn the other one, he's not really going to be able to guarantee a safe rotation in the next 2 safe zones. So he needs to either find materials now and then get central, or find a refresher on the edge of the zone.
We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Zone does pool in his favor here, so He's just walking out in the open. This is very risky. He does have a big shield, so I don't think he's too worried about it. But he's got that minigun, and honestly, walking out with the minigun, it definitely is the play here. It does have that little bit of a charge up time, but it's so powerful and so punishing. As I think he may be finding Frenzy Fishy here as Wall's trying to be taken to Anoka. I think really just wanting to farm up, does not want to take this engagement, knows there's a player on the other side, which is why he hasn't fully broken that wall. You see him just trying to get any engagement on this other player that he can. Nice to go up this layer and just continue to farm out. I don't think he's fully aware that that player is 100% there. I think, yeah, he may be, I'd say 95% sure he knows there's another player. His wall is now going to be taken. He knows for sure as the player down below trying to take the other wall. Oh, Noko could get the backside wall, and he does. Shots coming on through, and Frenzy Fishy tried to get a different wall, and unfortunately that lack of attention there on that pertinent wall gives Noka exactly what he needs to get back into this game.
Yeah, now all of a sudden he's in a situation where he has floppers, shields, minigun, epic tactical shotgun, and there's not a whole much else he could really ask for, as we have Mitro and NXS Z Andy over on top of each other, Row just beneath him as well. Mitro currently sitting on 2 points. Just have the flopper and the shield as well as the epic tactical shotgun, so set up pretty well the box fight over here. You can see the third zone is moving in, and most players have made their way into the safe zone already.
And so those 2 points coming via the placement points. I believe this definitely is his second game there. You see Loadout looking really good. This is kind of a style we've seen a lot in EU more now. If you don't get that minigun, the RPG, the heavy sniper, the 3 heals with 2 gun loadout is something a lot of people are running now. As you see a lot of names that are really big here. Moki, Falconly, Savage was there, Mitra was there. So many big, Varax was there as well. So many big players. People like Yahtzee have really got to fight and just try to outperform here. Don't know how they did in game number 1, but in day number 1 or in game number 1 if this is their second game, but they're looking really good, in a great position to pull this next zone, as we'll see where it's going to go. He actually doesn't pull it. It pulls a little bit more to his east, but got a perfect rotation in the zone. It's very clear for him to make this early rotation, but I like that he's going to sit back and try to get any elimination that he can. Just get those tags. Storm Surge is not really going to be a factor here. We will see it next zone as long as 50 or more players are alive, but easy rotation there for him as we see SR4 rotating right behind.
Yeah, and SR4 tries to sprint right into Vatsy's box, but Yahtzee says, gotcha!
But easy rotation there for him as we see SR4.
Rolled all sixes, no problem there. Gonna pick that upgrade, but still hurting in terms of the shotgun category when your choices are between a gray Tally Springs right now. Everyone desperately trying to pack in on the edge.
What the world needs now, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Oh, not just for some, but for